Hi, I'm Danielle. Welcome to my perfume journal. I am super excited to make this video as it is a fun tag video. I love watching tag videos and I was really honored actually, to be tagged to do this video by the wonderful Claire Smith. I have known Claire for a while from Instagram and I've watched her channel for ages. I think she is one of the finest people in the entire fragrance community. Her videos are so real, they are so authentic, they're informative. And so I was just over the moon when I saw that she tagged me and recommended my channel. Last night sometime I hit 1,000 subscribers on this channel, so wow. And I know that that is completely because of Claire. Thank you, Claire. I appreciate you so much. I'm super happy and excited to do this video. I have always wanted to do a perfume tag video, so yay. I also want to shout out John from Scented Snowdrops who tagged Claire before Claire tagged me. I had been following John for a while on Instagram and I always loved his perfume stories and his descriptions. He's so funny, he's so evocative, and he is just like an all-around encyclopedia of perfume knowledge. So when I started my own Instagram, John was the first person to recognize my little baby page when I used to write poetry about my perfumes. And I have never, ever forgotten that. Thank you, John. I also love John's videos where he takes us on walks with him and we just have like a nice chat about perfumes together. And of course, a shout out to the wonderful Pep, the Sentinel, one of the most respected voices in this community, and just an all-around kind and wonderful human. He started this tag in the first place, and so I'm really excited to answer these questions. So here we go. So the first question is, what is next on your to-buy list? Okay, so I plan out month by month what I want to buy so that I can stay within my budget. So for the month of April, there is one perfume that will definitely be joining my collection, and that is Belle de Grasse from Fragonard. So I tried this perfume out several months ago in its original form when it was just called Mimosa. And since then, they've changed the name, they've changed the packaging, but to my knowledge, the perfume itself is exactly the same as it was. And the original bottle is now going for like exorbitant prices on secondhand sites and on eBay, so I won't be doing that. And even if Belle de Grasse is close to the original Mimosa, I will be quite happy. So Belle de Grasse, as I said, is a Mimosa scent. It is fluffy, pillowy, feathery. It's a little bit sweet. It's powdery. It's like a big pool full of flowery cotton balls. There is a slight green quality to this perfume that makes it just a little bit fresh. And I think this perfume is wonderful. I have been waiting months to add this to my collection, and I'm excited to purchase this in April. So the next question is, if you had to choose one mainstream designer perfume brand and one niche brand, what would they be? Okay, so this question was really fun to think about because there are so many brands that make really exceptional fragrances. In the designer world, you have Guerlain, you have Chanel, Dior, and the niche world is just endless, so I had to think a lot about which ones feel the most like me. So when I was thinking about designer brands, I had to go back to my 1980s roots, of course, when I first discovered fragrances, and I narrowed it down to the two brands that I think most represent me as a perfume enthusiast and as a person in general. And the two brands are Dior and Givenchy. So Poison from Dior and Ysatis from Givenchy were two of my signature perfumes for years and years. They are like pretty much part of my DNA at this point in time, all of these years later. So even though I think Dior makes better perfumes overall, I'm actually going to choose Givenchy as the one designer brand I would choose if I could only have one. Ysatis was one of my most defining perfumes, and so that's what clinched Givenchy for me. I also love the L'Interdit line. I love Amarige. Organza is a beautiful, beautiful perfume, but above all, Ysatis is the one for me. It is a huge yellow floral sheep. It's a kitchen sink perfume. It's one of those perfumes that has like a bazillion notes. I can still remember the exact day I first smelled Ysatis. It was like nothing else I had ever smelled before. I instantly connected with that perfume, and it has been one of my true loves for the past 40 years. So Givenchy ekes out Dior by just a drop, and that is solely because of Ysatis. So moving over to the niche side, this was even more difficult. So over the last couple of years, I've gotten kind of like obsessed with Italian perfumes. I love Laboratorio Olfativo. I love Perfume Roma, Farmacia SS Annunziata 1561, Santa Maria Novella, and this little family-owned apothecary brand called Speziere Palazzo Vecchio. And then, of course, I love the classic niche brands, things like Serge Lutens, Frederic Malle, Nicolai. I recently discovered Grossmith, which is an amazing brand. So the world of niche perfumery is so vast. And even though there's frankly, there's a lot of crap out there, there are really some truly magnificent perfumes to be discovered. Now, I don't purchase a ton of expensive niche perfumes, but I love them. I appreciate them. And so since I can only choose one brand, I'm actually going with L'Artisan Parfumeur. One of my biggest regrets in my perfumed life is missing out on perfumes like Seville de l'Aube, Mimosa pour Moi. I have a little teeny tiny decant of Dzing. I hope I'm saying that right, Dzing, that I got from a friend. It is like a phenomenal feat of perfumery. I don't even like leather all that much. That is how good that perfume is. And so over the last year or so, Bois Farine has skyrocketed to one of my top 3 perfumes of all time. And I can only imagine how incredible the original formulation of this perfume must have been. Even in its current format, though, it is spectacular. It is grapefruit and fennel and finely sifted flower. It is masterfully created by the genius hand of Jean-Claude Ellena. To me, this perfume is like liquid Italy. It is simple, it is elegant, it is just one of the best things I have ever smelled in my whole entire life. And for that reason alone, L'Artisan Parfumeur is my choice for the one niche perfume brand. Okay, so the next question is, what were your best and your worst perfume blind buys? So the best was both easy and difficult at the same time. I was not always a blind buyer, but the more I got to know my own tastes and the more blind buying I started to do within reason. I don't blind buy anything that costs over $50. It's like my own little rule that I made. So with that little rule, I have discovered some really amazing affordable gems. And I think my best blind buys are from the brand Courreges. I blind bought Blanc, which is a lovely, light, powdery, rosy floral with just a touch of lychee, and La Fille de l'air, which is an ethereal, airy orange blossom. I also adore their bottles, especially the ones that look like Blanc that are kind of opaque and solid in color. I think they are so cool and they're so 70s looking. Their perfumes are very simple. There's nothing super complex about them, but they're just really good quality for a very, very low price. And that is my absolute favorite kind of blind buy. Okay, the worst blind buy. There have been several, but this was definitely one that ended up as a catch and release for me. This is Intimate Silhouette from Christian Siriano. I bought this blind because I was looking specifically for something that was powdery with a sesame note, and I thought this was going to be a good one. In fact, I was really enthusiastic about it from the notes. It said it had jasmine and black sesame, tonka bean, bourbon vanilla, sandalwood. It seemed like it was going to be so great, but instead of powdery sesame, I got baby vomit from this perfume, which is super funny because Claire and I were just chatting about another perfume, Burberry Body EDP, that she told me smelled like baby spit up as well. So this must be a thing. I don't know what aroma chemical they're using that gives it this baby vomit smell, but it's definitely there, at least to me. It just smells really sour to me, it smells like spoiled milk. And I gave it a good try, but I just could not get past that sick smell. So this is now sitting in a box waiting to be decluttered. And my sincere apologies to Christian Siriano or to anybody who likes this perfume. It just didn't work for me personally. And that's what makes this my worst blind buy. So the next question is, what fragrance purchase do I most regret? So as you all know, if you have been watching my channel, I make extremely poor choices when I'm on vacation. This bottle is one of my poor choices. It is the perfume that I most regret buying for two reasons. Number one, the scent, and number two, the price. So this is Perdizione from Nobile 1942. When I purchased this, I was specifically looking for an orange blossom. And of course, I got very caught up in the romance of perfume shopping. So I bought this on impulse, thinking that I was going to love it. And I think a lot of people really do love this perfume. This is very much in the vein of Love Don't Be Shy or Sintra from Memo, two perfumes that just don't work on me whatsoever. So I don't know what I was thinking when I smelled this and then subsequently bought it. So it must be the musk and the vanilla in this composition that give it that same marshmallowy quality to the perfume that you also get in Love Don't Be Shy and Sintra. And I just find that that smells terrible on me. It's too sweet, it's too syrupy, and it actually makes me feel rather sick when I wear it. And so this perfume just didn't work. It also lasts a really long time, much too long for my liking. It clings to everything, even clothing after it has been washed. And I think I paid over $150 for this perfume, which was totally foolish, because this perfume is available on a bunch of discount sites. But when I am on vacation, I get swept up in that fantasy world that I'm living in. And then I forget to pull out my phone and check the gray before running up to the register with my bottle. So now this perfume is sitting on my declutter shelf, and eventually it's going to go to a new home. So the next question is, what is my most complimented perfume? This one was kind of hard to answer because I don't actually get compliments on my perfume very often. I think it is because I don't spray very heavily. I know a lot of people who are very sensitive to perfume, so I try to be a little bit considerate of them. But one perfume that I think does smell pretty good on me, it was a signature scent of mine for a long, long time, and it is Jo Malone's Blackberry and Belle. It is one of the few perfumes I have ever repurchased. I love the snappy freshness of this perfume. It's got a little bit of grapefruitiness to it. And it is a scent profile that just seems to work for me. I have definitely gotten compliments on this perfume. It's very clean smelling, and that seems to be something that people kind of gravitate toward in general. So I'm going to go with Blackberry and Belle by Jo Malone as my most complimented perfume. Okay, the next question is, what's your most expensive and inexpensive fragrance? So let's start out with the most inexpensive one. This is Rose Noire from Giorgio Valenti. This is an oldie. It came out in 1985. It's like a classic powdery rose with geranium and some oak moss in the base. I paid like $9 for this perfume. And while it's definitely not going to be a substitute for like a really fine rose perfume, it is quite good for $9. That's like 2 lattes from a fancy coffee shop, which are going to be gone in half an hour. So I think that Rose Noire is well worth the price and a super fun bottle too. So my most expensive perfume, I'm actually going to share two. The first one is on the right. It's Violet Shot from Olfactive Studio. I think it is the most expensive perfume, or the most I've ever paid for a perfume in my collection. This can be found on the gray market at a discount. I did buy this at a retail shop, and I actually don't mind that I paid retail for this. I think I paid like $200 for this perfume, which is a lot for me. And there's a reason. I bought this perfume when I was on vacation with my sister-in-law. We went shopping. We spent a whole afternoon in a beautiful perfume shop with the most awesome sales associate. I was looking for a violet perfume. She helped me sniff through about 20 different perfumes until I finally selected this one as my favorite. It was like doing March Madness of violet perfumes. So even though I know I could have gotten this a lot cheaper, the experience in this shop on vacation with my sister-in-law, it is one of my best vacation memories. And I feel like you cannot put a price on that. So next is Peachy Vanilla Crumble from 4160 Tuesdays. This is a customized version of her classic perfume, Creamy Vanilla Crumble, and it has added peach. So this is another vacation story. I was on vacation in London. I was able to visit Sarah McCartney at her Hammersmith location. She was holding an open studio. I was like the only one there for a little while. So we sat at her colorful table while my husband and Nick talked football. And she walked me through at least 20 of her perfumes, maybe more. I got to hear her talk about the inspiration behind the perfumes, the stories behind them. I got to smell a few perfumes that were in production. And I was like in total awe of her knowledge, her wonderfulness. And it was one of the best days I can remember. I ended up purchasing 3 perfumes that day. This was the largest of the bottles. She was offering, every once in a while, she does like free customizations where you can add like a little extra something to one of her formulas. And she had told me that she just acquired a very good peach material. So I was like, cool, why not? Let's make this a peach perfume. I don't have any peach perfumes in my collection right now. So we tested and retested the amount of peach that she put into it until we both agreed that it was just right. And honestly, it was like the coolest thing I've ever done, an experience I will never, ever forget. And again, that is something that I feel like I just can't put a price on. So these perfumes were the most expensive, but they're also both perfumes that I treasure in my collection because of the memories that I associate with them. So the next question is, what is the most represented fragrance brand in your perfume collection? So the most represented brand in my collection is Jo Malone London. So for a long time, I did not have a huge collection. I could only afford to buy maybe like 1 or 2 perfumes a year, and I was really smitten with Jo Malone. I kept adding 1 or 2 bottles to my collection when I could, and eventually I ended up with 8 of them. I have talked a bit about Blackberry and Belle already in this video, which is my favorite of all of them. But the other perfume I really love is Mimosa and Cardamom. I love Mimosa. It is so pillowy and soft and fluffy. It's a beautiful yellowy floral. It's sunny, it's happy, it's bright smelling. And the cardamom addition to this perfume allows it to take on like this beautiful velvety quality. I love this scent. I have really fond memories of when Jo Malone kind of felt like my brand. And I know they're not as popular as they once were, but I still love so many of them, especially Blackberry and Belle and Mimosa and Cardamom. So next is, what is your favorite discontinued fragrance? How much time do we have here? Discontinued fragrances are my biggest weakness. I tend to love vintage scents, and because I did not have any extra money for a long, long time, I missed out on a lot of amazing perfumes. So I'm actually going to go with 2 that I have never owned rather than going down a list of perfumes that I used to have and wish I could have again. The 2 perfumes that I wish I could go back in time to add to my collection would be Midnight Poison from Dior and Boudoir from Vivienne Westwood. But the one I'm going to go with for this question is Midnight Poison. Midnight Poison is just the most gorgeous, deep rose patchouli scent. Everything in that perfume is in perfect balance. It is classy, it is sultry. It is just one of the best perfumes I have ever smelled in my entire life. Now, I have here YSL's Elle, which is about as close to Midnight Poison as I have ever smelled. It came out the same year. It was created by Olivier Cresp, one of the creators behind Midnight Poison. Elle is just like slightly fruitier than Midnight Poison, and Midnight Poison, it is just gorgeous. If you ever have the chance to smell that perfume, smell it, because it is... I know you hear like the word masterpiece a lot when it is related to perfumes. Everybody calls everything a masterpiece. Midnight Poison is a masterpiece. And that is why it remains my #1 unicorn discontinued fragrance. Okay, the next question is, what type of fragrance videos do I like to watch? I love this question. So to answer this fully, First, I want to echo what a lot of people say about this topic, which is by starting with the perfume videos that I do not like to watch. Now, I do not have a problem with influencers. They're not my personal cup of tea, but it's a job. It's like any other job, and that's all fine. But what I really do not like is when influencers do not properly disclose either free products or paid promotions. To me, that's like a huge issue as both a perfume consumer and as a content consumer. And we all know that there are plenty of people who do this on YouTube and other social media platforms. I think it's dishonest. I think people can be very impressionable when it comes to consumerism. So I think it's super problematic to just not disclose. It's also not legal. So I tend to avoid those channels and those content creators, along with the ones who focus mostly on like what's popular, what's hype, or people who do like a lot of like clickbaity type topics. So now on the flip side, the fragrance videos I love to watch are generally by people who are just like big perfume enthusiasts. They're not making videos as their profession. Maybe they get a little bit of PR, maybe they don't, but they just love perfume. I like watching people on screen. I like watching faceless videos. I like to listen to YouTube videos almost like podcasts, like when I'm in my car, when I'm making dinner. I love watching and listening to people who describe perfumes in amazing detail. Those people, I admire them so much. They can really like unpack a fragrance and bring the scent to life. I love people who tell stories about perfumes, whether they're stories from their personal experiences or the stories that the perfume tells them as they smell it. And finally, I love people who are genuinely excited about their own collections and they talk about the perfumes that they wear, that they love, and why they love them. Okay, so who are those people? So one of the things I really love about switching over to YouTube is that the community here is a lot smaller than the community when I was over on Instagram. I was following like thousands of accounts over there, and I follow like fewer than 100 accounts here. And I feel like that's good for me personally because it allows me to interact more fully. I engage more intentionally with people. So whether a video is like 4 minutes long or 40 minutes long, I just feel more engaged, more connected to this kind of content. So this is not an exhaustive list, but here are just some of the channels I love and why I love them. So first, of course, is Claire Smith. She and I have extremely similar tastes. I think Claire is brilliant. She is informative. She is fun. She is enthusiastic. Her content is so varied. It's so diverse. She is just the real deal. She's also super interactive in her comments, and she comments on a lot of other people's videos. And I really love that. I think you don't just get like an emoji response from Claire. You get a real conversation. I hold Claire in the highest regard. I think she is the bee's knees. Next is, of course, the wonderful John, who I mentioned earlier from Scented Snowdrops. I love John's perfume walks. He is witty. He is funny. He has an incredibly encyclopedic brain full of perfume knowledge. He tells amazing stories, and he's just such an authentic guy. I feel like one of the things that makes a YouTuber stand out to me is if I can actually name the perfumes that I know they love the most. I actually love when people talk about the same perfumes over and over again, and I cannot see the perfume rolling in love without thinking of John. Okay, from down under, I love Pep, The Sentinel, and Cherie at the top note. Pep is just a wealth of information. He has incredible taste in perfumes. He is able to describe perfumes like nobody else, and he is just a gem of a person. And his voice is amazing to listen to. If you watch Pep, you know what I'm talking about. He has the best voice in all of YouTube. And Cherie, to me, is like the epitome of class and elegance. She is also at the same time completely real, completely down to earth. Her taste in perfume is impeccable. I learned so much watching her channel, and I love hearing her talk about perfumes. Next, I have my Gen X sister, Amy at Savor Salvage Scent. She is one of my favorite channels. I love Amy so much. Her recent series on authenticity and scent is exceptional. She has an incredible collection, and I think one of the things she does best is she weaves information and storytelling together seamlessly. And Amy is just cool as hell. I love Amy. Okay, next, I get so excited talking about perfume channels because these people are amazing. Okay, these are the two queens of affordable perfumes. I love, love, love watching Cassandra at Skin Sense for Fuss Pots. I mean, that is the best name of a channel ever. She has a knack for being able to compare expensive perfumes to inexpensive ones. It's like a gift. I don't know how she does it. I love her videos. Watching her is like sitting down with a close friend and having a chat over perfumes over a cup of coffee. Love. I also love Karina at My Perfume Map. She is the thrift queen. She finds the most amazing perfumes in lots and on eBay. And she has an incredible collection of like really unusual things that you don't see anywhere else. I am constantly saving her videos to look up things that she has recommended. Moving over to the vintage side of things, I am obsessed with Luke from Luke Parfums and Gabby at The Fragrantician. Luke and Gabby are the vintage experts in the fragrance community. They both have incredible vintage collections. They talk about vintage perfumes with passion and enthusiasm. I love them both. And super bonus, they both have amazing voices to listen to. Okay, recent discoveries. One of them is a channel that became a instant favorite channel. John recommended this channel. That's how I found it. And it's Ron at My Fragrance Journey. I totally relate to Ron. We both seem to have like kind of diverse and eclectic tastes in perfumes. I really love that. Ron is clever, funny, super interesting. And that's what I look for in a perfume channel. Just real talk, not trying to be somebody you're not trying to sell stuff, just talking about perfumes. Ron is the real deal. Love Ron. My Fragrance Journey. Okay, I've also recently discovered Chelsea from Perfumes on the Porch. She is a lovely person, and she has these adorable kids that sometimes make appearances in her video. The way that I would describe her is she talks about her perfumes so lovingly, and she's very honest. There is nothing fake about her. And I would say the same about Tammy Roxanne. She talks about the perfumes she loves with such enthusiasm and realness. I really appreciate that in her perfume channel. And I love Wendy at Wendy's Parade of Perfumes. She is awesome. She is funny and witty and smart. And I love the way she just like chit chats about perfumes. Oh, and I love Alex Pearl. He is funny and witty and brilliant, and his perfume reviews are actually really excellent. He does this really cool kind of like rating system when he describes perfumes. Very, very good format. I also connected with Alex over on Blue Sky. He's a very cool person. I really enjoy Alex as a person, and I love his channel. Okay, and then we have Sarah McCartney's channel. I have talked about it before. It is exceptional. It is like taking a perfume course or a master class with every video. I think it is like incredibly generous of her to offer this kind of content to people for free. So let me just call that out as something fantastic. I mean, she is a real perfumer and she makes these videos for people. And I just think that shows her generosity in the fragrance community and in this space. Then there's people that I've watched for a super long time. People like Arlene at Delicious Delights, love her. Thomas at Ouch 110, Dacob at Essentially Dacob, and of course, the OG perfume channel that hooked me into this whole thing on YouTube, and that was Katie Puckrick. Katie Puckrick Smells. She's not really posting much anymore. She recently did a few videos for Penhaligon's. She is incredible. She's brilliant and funny and clever. Love. There's a lot of other channels I watch. Some of them don't really post a lot anymore. Others post kind of intermittently, but of course, I always get super excited when they pop up in my notifications. Okay, whew. So yeah, I love the fragrance community. I love the people in it. I love them a lot, as you can see. I've been in a lot of online communities over time, and really the fragrance community has some of the most wonderful people, some of the best content, and I just think it's a fantastic place to be. So the last question in this fragrance tag video is, which fragrance have you worn more than any other? Okay, so for this question, I'm going back to my very favorite perfume of all time, Niki de Saint Phalle. I went through several bottles of this in the 80s, and I recently got this beautiful little splash bottle that is in perfect condition. It is very, very difficult to find an intact bottle of this perfume. It does not seem to keep well over time, and I have been burned on buying vintage bottles of this in the past. So I am so grateful to have this back in my collection. It was missing for many, many years. It was like a hole in my collection. So Niki de Saint Phalle was a French artist, and if you do choose to look her up and read about her, I want to offer up a trigger warning. She had a very, very difficult and abusive childhood, so please go in and read about her life with caution. She was a prolific artist throughout her entire adult life, and her art is very recognizable. It's very colorful, it's very graphic, it's very fantastical. She inspired people in the design world. She inspired Yves Saint Laurent in some of the collections. She inspired the Flaming Lips with one of their album covers. She was hugely influential in the world of art and design. And when she made her perfume, she did that to help fund her artistic endeavors, especially the sculpture garden that she wanted to create. And her perfume is a very green floral sheep. It is almost bitter when it opens. It's very, very green. There's definitely galbanum in this. There's artemisia, there's mint, and a little bit of peachiness. The most prominent florals that I get from this perfume are rose, carnation, ylang-ylang, those very 80s big florals. And there's a little bit of a powderiness to this perfume, most likely coming from the orris and the amber in the base. I think the vanilla is a very powdery kind of vanilla. And of course, there's a mossiness to this perfume that you would definitely associate with sheeps from the 1980s. But what really makes this perfume special for me is the sandalwood. It is incredible in this perfume. The dry down is like this weird, it's weird. It's a weird combination of mossiness, florals, and these creamy, creamy woods. I can't even begin to describe how this perfume smells. I couldn't possibly do it justice, but it has been my favorite perfume, my number one perfume for more than 40 years. It is so special. It's so beautiful to me. And Niki de Saint Phalle is my most worn perfume of all time. Okay, so once again, I want to thank Claire so much for tagging me and for sharing my channel on your channel. I'm so grateful to you, Claire. I feel really happy and honored to be connected to you over our shared love of perfumes. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm going to tag anybody who wants to do this on your channel, maybe in the comments section. I would love to know your answers to these questions. This was super fun to do. I love fragrance tag videos. And I love when the perfume community is about fun and enjoyment. I'm not here to sell anything. I'm not here to make a living making videos about perfume. I just love connecting with people and learning about their world through perfume. And so, of course, as always, thank you so much for watching, for spending your time here with me, and for chatting perfumes with me in the comments. I appreciate you very much. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.